Okay, how to draw, let's continue our discussion, how to draw our pressure diagram. Basically, to draw the pressure diagram, you're going to use the values of your lateral earth pressure or the horizontal forces, which is denoted by sigmas of H. So, from here, this value, this is the one that you're going to use to draw your pressure diagram. For example, for this illustration, since we have a surcharge, you're going to identify the value for sigmas of H. So that would be Q times, meaning to say that is as Z is equal to 0, because this is the level surface, Z equal to 0, of course your gamma times Z would be 0, but then there is the presence of surcharge, so that would be plus Q. So that is our vertical stress. So to have the value for the lateral pressure or the horizontal force, sigmas of H, that would be equivalent to K naught times sigmas of O, which is the vertical stress, and the value is Q. So you multiply that by K naught, so that is now the value for the lateral pressure or the horizontal force, and this is the value for the first sigmas of H, or the lateral pressure or the horizontal pressure. So you draw that one. So this is due to surcharge. So this would form a rectangle. Then afterwards, you draw your, when Z is equal to H. When Z is equal to H, meaning to say this is the total height. When Z is equal to H, of course, your sigmas of O, which is the vertical stress at Z is equal to H, would be equivalent to gamma times H. So that would be gamma times H. Then once you have that vertical stress, get the value for the horizontal force or the lateral pressure, and that would be equal to K naught times sigmas of O, or K naught times the vertical stress. And the value to that, you're going to plot, and of course, from the endpoint here, you try to identify the value for the lateral pressure, so it will form a triangle. So this is now the value for the horizontal force due at Z is equal to H. So basically for this illustration for a stress earth pressure, since we don't have a water surface, this is one layer of the soil, so you only have two figure through two areas. So basically this is now our pressure diagram. So from this pressure diagram, you can use this to compute for the total force acting on the retaining wall. So that would be the force of area 1. So you just get the area for this figure, get the area for this figure. So that would be for this figure, that would be your piece of 1, that is the force. And for this figure, figure 2, that would be your piece of 2. So that would be the force. Then you can get now your resultant. So that is being denoted by piece of O. Once you have that piece of O, you can locate the location of your piece of O. You can have summation moment. You can have your reference point at the bottom of the retaining wall. Then apply your strength of materials, P1 times, and from centroid of this towards the reference point, plus piece of 2, centroid of this towards the reference point. And you can get the value for the location of the resultant force denoted by Z bar. So that is how you're going to have your pressure diagram to compute for your total force using the area of your pressure diagram. So that is basically the most effective, the most simplest, the most easy way to compute for the forces acting on the retaining wall. So another method is you're going to memorize a formula. So this is the formula that you're going to memorize. Actually, this one was just derived from the vertical stress and the horizontal force that we have computed. So to go away from this formula, this equation, you just draw, after you've computed for the horizontal force, you draw your pressure diagram, and using the area, you can compute now for the resultant force and get the location of that resultant force. So this is basically the illustration that I have mentioned a while ago to compute for the location of the resultant force. The first figure that was presented, there was no water table. So if there is a water table, for instance, there is the presence of water. So basically for this is an illustration that there is a water table. So how still there is a presence of the surcharge. So you step by step, you compute for the vertical stress at Z is equal to 0. So that would be equivalent to, of course, sigma times Z, which is 0, plus you have a surcharge, so that would be plus Q. So basically for vertical stress at Z is equal to 0, that will be equal to Q. And to compute for the horizontal force, the sigmas of H, which is our lateral force, that would be equal to K naught times the vertical stress. So the vertical stress was equal to Q, so therefore the sigmas of H, or the lateral pressure, or the horizontal force, is equal to K naught times Q. So we have there K naught times Q. So basically that would be a horizontal line to that. Then at Z is equal to H1, so this is our H1, so purely soil. So that would be vertical stress equal to gamma times H1 plus Q, because we have a surcharge. Then once you have computed that one, you're going to have your sigmas of H, or the horizontal force, or the lateral pressure. So that would be K naught times our value for sigmas of O, the vertical stress. Then the resultant to that for the horizontal force, or sigmas of H, from the endpoint here you can draw a triangle downward towards a height of H1. So you have now another lateral pressure. Then afterwards, at Z is equal to H2. This would be Z is equal to H2. So meaning to say our sigmas of O is equal to gamma times H2 plus Q, because we have a surcharge, plus gamma times H1, or basically our vertical stress, if we're going to have H2, that would be equal to Q plus gamma times H1 plus gamma minus, this is saturated, so minus the unit weight of the water times H2. So that is the vertical stress at H2. Meaning to say, if the vertical stress would be a summation of all the vertical stress above that point. So we have now your vertical stress at Z is equal to H2. Now you can compute for the horizontal force, or the lateral pressure. So that would be equivalent to K naught times sigmas of O, or K naught times the vertical stress that we have computed when Z is equal to H2. So whatever is the result for sigmas of H, you're going to plot that one. So from this endpoint of H1, you draw a line, triangular form. So this is now when Z is equal to H2. Since you have the presence of water, there is an additional pressure due to the pore water pressure. So that would be pore water pressure, denoted by U, is equal to gamma of the water, or the unit weight of the water, times H2. So whatever is the result for the pore water pressure, you plot that one. So from this point, from H1, from the bottom of H1, you draw a triangular line. So you draw a triangle. So you're going to have this point. So that is now the value for your the value for the pore water pressure. So you have now your pressure diagram. So basically, using this pressure diagram, this will be used to compute for the total force, and that you're going to get the resultant force using the area for each. So you have 5 areas. So using that area, you can compute. You just sum up all the areas, and you have now the total force acting on this retaining wall. And you can compute for the value of the location of the resultant force. You just have a reference point at the bottom of the retaining wall. Then using the concept of the strength of materials to get the location of the resultant force, that would be, can have Z bar times the total force is equal to the area of each multiplied to each distance from the centroid towards the reference point. To simplify, you get now your Z bar, or the location of the resultant force. So this is what I have been explaining a while ago. Then, of course, you have the resultant force using the area, using the area of the pressure diagram. If you don't want to draw the pressure diagram, somehow you're going to memorize this equation. But basically, to have an easy life, it's better to draw the pressure diagram and get the area of those. You sum up, you have now your total force acting on the retaining wall. So basically, that's the concept for the lateral earth pressure at rest.